It's ladies like what? It must be Sarah on the mic. We're sweet little Holly, got the sugar, got the spice. We're keeping us tight, we're guests on the night. Linked up with Urban Spirit Studio. That's right. And I'm not a rookie on this all-star team. Me and Holly get your hook like we're fishing for green. This is home, never leaving us talent alone. Yes, it is my city, it's my throne.
Well, with like how you feel as a woman and how you've been made to feel, does this come from the idea of broadly body image, and say, have you had any issues with that, and has that stayed with you?
Gosh,
that's a very broad question, but I could speak a lot on it as well.
It is huge. I guess if I'm going to give the short answer, because obviously we don't have like a massive amount of time today, the short answer is yes, and it's affected me massively from having my body one way, then being pregnant, then giving birth, and seeing my body afterwards and expecting it to be like something I've seen in a movie. So I already had that expectation on myself and that pressure, and my partner's never been like it, but I've always had that pressure from external sources, as in media, friends, family, and just things at the back of my mind, where I've always thought that to be beautiful, you need to be skinny. And it's okay when you're pregnant to have the big belly because you're pregnant, but then as soon as the baby's gone, like come out of you and you've given birth, then now you need to have that washboard stomach again to sort of like be acceptable and beautiful and pretty again.
Because if your stomach's not flat, then it's like in your head, like, well, I'm not pretty. I can't be pretty. How can I possibly be pretty? My stomach's not flat.
Stretch marks as well.
Yeah.
Killer.
That's crazy.
That was...
Do you know what really affected me through that? And I don't know if... I feel like a lot of women can agree on this, not to bring it up, but through COVID, because you had nothing to do all day, I used to only let myself eat at 4 p.m, one meal a day.
Really?
Because I was like, I'm putting on weight. Because obviously you're with yourself 24/7. And I was like, I'm not moving. I'm sat in this room all day. I was at uni. I was like, right, one meal a day. And I used to literally count down till 4 p.m. because I was starving. But I would literally starve myself till 4 p.m. every day.
Why was that, would you think?
Just because I was scared, because I've always seen myself as slim. I was so scared because I did put on didn't put on weight at all, but I was a little bit bigger than I was, and that was down to the pill I was taking. Nothing to do with what I was eating.
Hormonal.
It was the horrible Regeneron pill, death pill. Don't take it. And I think every girl will tell you that pill does that to you. It makes you put on weight because it makes you starving.
Yeah.
So you obviously eat more, and because I was scared about that, and through COVID I was like, oh my God, I'm not doing any exercise. I convinced myself that, oh my God, it's like I'm going through menopause or something. I don't know what's happening. My body's completely changed. And I wasn't even big, but when you're so used to seeing yourself in a way for so long, it's like, God, I'm ugly now.
Yeah, it's hard as well because, again, like, it's again from pills to pills, because you're talking about that and how you put on the weight. Myself, during those times, I was actually probably really fit, really fit, because I didn't have nothing else to do. So during the day, I'd just do exercising. I'd do some online exercise classes with people. I just found it brilliant because I had all that time to sort of go, oh, okay, can kind of work on myself a little bit more. So I was doing all sorts of like exercise programs, and the summer was amazing. So I was outside all the time. So I felt really, really good. Whereas now, and I'm going through a lot of hormonal changes, I'm finding now that I've been putting on the weight over this past year, and it's been really difficult. And that is, again, from the fluctuations in the hormones. So for me, it is hard to go through that, and especially when people go, oh, it's fine, you look beautiful, you look gorgeous, and it kind of makes you want to throttle them, because
it's how you feel, and you're allowed to feel a certain way.
And again, it's subjective to that actual person. So for myself, because I've always been used to how I look in a certain way, not to say like that is my actual beauty standard, but you're so used to seeing something in the mirror that when you don't now see it, it's quite difficult to accept.
Yeah, because you got to think, if you looked like how you look like now your whole life, you wouldn't have anything against it, because that would be your normal. So when your normal's changed, really.
That's what it is. And you just don't feel comfortable in your body.
Absolutely. And in that, your normal, I didn't like my normal anyway. My biggest insecurity was being small, but then when it started to change, I was insecure too. So it's like you can't win.
Yeah.
I remember like in school, I used to get I was like a late developer. So I was like, never had any fajitas. Still haven't got any fajitas, so that never happened. But I was always like the small one. People used to pick me up, and like didn't realise by picking me up, I'm getting a bit insecure because obviously I'm small and I want to be like the girls that are like got the boobs and the bum. And still now that sticks to me. I'm not the same person now, and like I was then. Obviously, I've grown up and I'm more like a woman now. And no one sees me like that anymore, but still now that will always stick with me, and I will always still be insecure, and I will always still feel like that little girl at school.
It's weird, isn't it, like how certain things have impacted our lives and how we feel about ourselves, because even myself, I mean, I have significantly bigger boobs now, and I always wanted to have boobs. Like I was like, I'm gonna have a boob job and all of this. I really did want to, and I researched it, and then I thought, well, no, that's not for me. And I thought I've got to kind of accept it. Didn't really accept it. But then as my hormones have changed now, they've grown, which I feel quite uncomfortable with because nothing fits right, or I'm wearing a shirt and things are popping out, and I've never had that experience before. So even though I'm quite an advocate for body positivity, but I must say I'm a little bit of a hypocrite when it comes to applying it to myself, because I'm still in the early stages of trying to understand who I am in this new body. And I don't quite like this place that I'm at.
That must be crazy. Like having you spend your whole life as you, and then like being a female is actually disgusting. Like you spend your whole life being you, and then all of a sudden your hormones change, and your hormones control everything. Like that is your mood. Like men don't understand, like if your hormones are off balance, or like if you're coming on or anything, it could be anything, and then your mood is like changed.
At the moment it's really strange. I'm feeling like I'm going through a next like second puberty or something.
I bet that's
where you just kind of don't know who you are as a person or where you fit in the world, and trying to research things and understand all these things. And obviously as your body's changing, trying to be positive, but then looking in the mirror going, oh, I really don't like this.
Well, my mum went through the same thing when she went through menopause. My mum was always like, I get my thinness from my mum and my dad, really, because they were both like me. And my mum was always like a size 8, always. And she went through menopause, and then all of a sudden she went up to like a 14 overnight. It was crazy. And she got boobs, and she never had boobs, and then now she's got boobs, and like she doesn't even look like the same person. It's crazy, but and she really struggled with it because she's always been really small, and then all of a sudden she's got a bit of love on her. Do you know what I mean? She's got a little bit of love on her.
And that's the thing, and I'm not hating on that, because there are aspects of my body where I'm like, do you know what? I quite like having a bit of extra badonk in the back. And the boobs I'm still coming to terms with, because it's something that I've always wanted, but I'm still a bit like, oh gosh. Again, that's why I feel like it's a bit like puberty, where they just grow. You always wanted them, and then they grow, and then you go, oh, now what do I do with them?
I know, I've got to get a new bra. God, they're expensive. Do you know the price of bras?
It's ridiculous. So it's coming through with that, and then obviously the expectations as well, because at the moment it's really cool that people can talk about like perimenopause and menopause and hot flushes and all those sort of things. I still don't really know what it is, and to be able to be going through something like this that I don't really know anything about is quite a scary and daunting thing.
Would you say that it's not talked about enough? Because I never hear about it.
I don't think it is, because I didn't know what I was going through until I started to go through it. And I literally thought I was losing my mind. Again, we'll have to do like a whole podcast on it, because
I want to know as well. Because I would like to know about it, like especially girls my age that we don't hear about it. We don't even get taught about it in school. You don't hear about menopause in school.
But the thing is, and you should, because I never knew about it, and it's kind of bizarre because people don't talk about it, and it's sort of like it's taboo, because if you do talk about it, it's like, oh my God, you're old, and everything's drying up inside of you, and everything's going, and it's not. You know, and I think because people don't talk about it, it's become like this embarrassing thing that got hidden and no one talks about it. But I think every woman should know about it, so that when it does come to that time, you don't think you're literally losing your mind.
Also, if you could know, okay, so it happens between this age and this age. So
it can literally start from the ages of 35. So I know.
Do you know when I went in the hospital the other week? She asked me, she said, are you going through menopause? And she was being serious. I said, I'm 21.
You can have early onset perimenopause. Again, we'll have to go into it. It's crazy, but it's just those whole fluctuations in your hormones that we don't realize, that when things are depleting, that we literally can feel like we've lost our entire mind. And then to have the expanding waistline when you're so used to being so small, it was never hard for me to lose weight. And now I feel like I'm doing the most and constantly putting on weight.
My mum's been trying to lose weight since it started for years, and I just think, love yourself. You're lovely. You look lovely. There's nothing wrong with you. No one's looking at you thinking, God, she's got some love handles on her, because you've not. You're just you. There's nothing wrong with it
again,
whatsoever.
It's easy to say that.
But I would be a nightmare. I feel sorry for my fella, because God, he's got it.
But again, I think
coming.
it is, because we're expected as well, because again, that might just be something that's in my mind, because when you see women of a certain age on movies and in the TV and stuff like that, they seem to have it all. They don't mention things about they're going through perimenopause or hormonal changes and stuff, and they've all got flat stomachs, and they've all maintained their weight from being in their 20s to their 40s to their 50s, that you kind of think, oh, I'm just lazy, or it is me, or maybe I'm not good enough. So it's
but when actually, if you look around you, every single woman is going through the same thing, and they're all showing you the normal side of it. Like, not
media is the extreme, really. Isn't it?
Oh, 1000%. Also, you got to know that's Face App that they've got Hollywood 4 on. That is Face App.
Yeah. Also, a lot of them will go and have a baby, and straight after they're all having C-sections and liposuction, and then coming out and recovering. You don't see them for a few months, do you?
Exactly. Can you stop menopause? Is there any way they can stop it?
Again, I'm still researching these things, so I don't 100% know. I know you can take hormones. Whether it can be stopped, I don't know. But I do know that as women, we're born with our eggs, aren't we? So we have them from when we're in the womb. So eggs and our ovaries are part of our hormonal system, whereas guys are constantly producing sperm and testosterone and stuff, so it doesn't affect them, because they can still obviously deplete in testosterone. Again, don't quote me, I'm not a doctor, and I'm still doing a lot of research on this, but as women, ours starts to rapidly decline from, I think it's late 20s to 30s.
God.
I know.
So is that why females struggle getting pregnant then, when they're in their late 20s? Because and they call it like geriatric pregnancies when I think you're like 35 or something. You're not obviously geriatric, but they call it like it's a very old pregnancy because your eggs are old. I know. That's crazy. The fun stuff. I've got so many questions, so like I won't go too into detail because this ain't a science lesson. I know we might have to. I know we'll have to do a full episode on this. Yeah. But so do you know, going through menopause, is that essentially becoming more masculine then? No. So from what I know and I've understand, basically menopause is when you've gone one whole year without having a period. So I'm not in my menopause. I'm still having periods. Too much information for some people. Sorry if it is, but it's just a normal thing. It's ladies. That's what women do. So obviously I still have regular periods, very regular periods. So everything's still fine in that department. But once you go 1 year without having a period, now you've gone through your menopause. So they don't really, like doctors, a lot of them don't have a lot of training on it. So they'll literally go, oh, when was the last time you had a period? 6 months ago. All right, come back to us. And then after you've gone a whole year, they'll go, right, you've gone through your menopause. But what's the point in that? You're probably going there because of the symptoms you're having, so you want to get them checked up. But yes, God, you've got to wait a year first, and then we'll tell you that actually you're fine. But also perimenopause, because there's more people talking about it. That's what's come to light, and there's more research. Perimenopause is basically before you hit the menopause, so that could be 15 years beforehand. So a lot of women will go into their actual menopause. It could be 52 to 55. So you could be going through your perimenopause, like so pre-menopause from when you're like 35 onwards. And what are the symptoms of pre-menopause? I'll have to bring my whole book in. Seriously, it's crazy. So God, we'll mine, we'll do a whole episode on it. It is crazy, the amount of stuff. It is, It's hair loss one. Hair loss is one of them. Oh God, right, that's it. I'm unaliving myself before 35. I'll tell you that for free. It is. It's a lot. I can't do that to myself. I cannot do that to myself. I would drive myself mad. I just feel sorry for my family at the moment with the way that I'm going on. It's wild. Yeah, but you're allowed. You're going for menopause. 15 years. Oof.